Greetings. I am Reverend Ken Lyerly, Doctor of Ministry and Christian Education, with a degree in education and a degree in theology. I'm going to start a series called Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness. We'll begin with It Takes a Politically Correct Village. As the sun rose on a chilly winter morning upon the politically correct village, she found herself standing in the middle of the street on her piano bench in her underwear. She was holding her Bible in her hands, and around her were the politically correct police. How did she get here? What events led to this moment in time? Did you have a part in any of these events? Are you part of the problem or part of the solution? Are you part of the village? She was born in the village before it became politically correct. Her father was a minister of the gospel, supported and assisted by her mother. They had an effective ministry prior to the village becoming politically correct. When the village became politically correct, it was publicized that only approved ministers and churches could operate under the politically correct government. Her father thought he might be able to continue to serve under this politically correct indictment. He soon found that the politically correct government would control what he would preach, even writing his sermons for him. Her father resigned from the politically correct church, but continued to minister as he had before the village converted. He very soon began to be harassed by the politically correct citizens. He was reported to the politically correct authorities. He and his wife were arrested several times. They were sent to re-education camps. They were imprisoned, sent to slave labor camps, and eventually disappeared altogether. This left the daughter alone. Over the years she had been educated. She was a teacher and a pianist. She taught in the politically correct school and taught piano, but continued her Christian life and ministry. She was soon reported to the politically correct authorities. She too began to be harassed by the citizens and authorities. She lost her job of teaching. She was able to continue teaching piano until one day the politically correct authorities had had enough of her continued Christian lifestyle and raided her home. They began removing her personal possessions from the house into the street. They set them on fire. Among the things cast into the fire were her piano and her music, Beethoven, Bach, and Handel. All artifacts dealing with any vestige of Christ were cast into the fire. Finally, they found her Bible. Before the politically correct priest could cast the Bible into the fire, she grabbed it from their hands and clutched it in her own. The police kept demanding she hand it over, but she refused. Finally, the officer in charge came. He asked her to give it up. She still refused. The politically correct officer then took her piano bench, having survived the fire, and set it in the middle of the street. He told her to stand on the bench. He told her and the other police that she would stand there until she gave up the Bible. If she fell, they were to put her back on the bench and make her stand there all night if necessary. One of the officers came up from behind and ripped off her dress, leaving her in her underwear. As the sun arose on that chilly winter morning over the politically correct village, the officer in charge returned. He found this woman in her underwear, still standing on her piano bench, clutching her Bible. He again asked for the Bible. Again she refused. He then ordered the other politically correct police to pull her down, take the Bible, and cast it into the fire. They pulled it down, cast the Bible into the fire, and they took both her hands and broke every bone. She would never again play the piano. She would never again have a Bible to read. She would never again be able to work and support herself. She managed to survive with the help of other Christian friends. One day, years later, some people came to her place and gave her a Bible, which they had managed to smuggle into the politically correct village. Yes, Hillary, this is what happens when you have a village take control.